disappointing, but I'm sure Councilman Now will be, Councilman Sykes will do a good job. And, I really just wanted the opportunity to thank you and the community for all your support over the past 4 years. It's been a wonderful experience. Not many people my age have the opportunity to really have had their dream job at such a young age. So
well, it's been really cool to watch you in this position. Having known you before you were elected,
Sure.
and then watching that transition has been an amazing. It's been an amazing view, I think, for those of us from the outside. You seem to be a natural when it comes to issues of human rights and civil rights and public policy.
Yeah, no, actually, I found I was a bigger geek than I thought I was. I really enjoyed doing public policy. A lot of people were asking me, what have you done on council? I remember, calling around election time and really just saying, hey, I'm Adam Martinez, hoping for your support.
Right.
And they're like, who are you? What have you done? And then I would go into detail what I went through, and they're like, yeah, no, I don't believe you, because I would have heard of
I
it.
would have heard about that, yeah.
And I think it's probably one of my biggest downfalls is sometimes I'm too humble. I don't really tout. I'm not the average politician that goes out in glad hands all the time.
Yeah, tell me how somebody who's naturally an introvert runs for political office.
I don't know.
And that's how you describe yourself as an introvert.
Absolutely. You can ask my wife. She actually had to ask me out because I was so shy. But I really just wanted to make a difference in our community, so I had to kind of suck it up and really just go out there and put myself out there. And for me, that was probably the hardest thing about campaigning. I can raise the money, I can go door to door, I can do the hard physical stuff that I have to do. But the hardest part for me was to actually just go up to a complete stranger and ask for their support. So, and I think in the end, if I had to pinpoint one of my downfalls, that was probably it. But moving forward, it has been a wonderful experience. I got to do some really good things while I was on council. One of my biggest, accomplishments is the Verdun building in downtown warehouse district. I fought against it so hard because the deal just didn't make sense, and we were able to come to a good, reasonable resolution, and we have a new developer. And it was a lot of heavy lifting, but I feel like we actually made a difference, and we saved taxpayers a lot of money.
So what's been your favorite thing?
I really enjoyed working on economic development policy. I didn't think I would, but I took a different approach coming from the nonprofit sector. So I did it from the bottom up versus the top down approach, in which most elected officials do. And when I looked at it, I wanted to make sure we had practitioners, people in the trenches that knew what they were doing, that knew the flaws, that were able to actually recreate something that's actually going to work. And bringing in people from across different disciplines that we probably wouldn't think of in terms of economic development.
Yeah.
The Arts Commission, nonprofit agencies, medical fields, institutions, we all came to the table and said, okay, we need to do something. And remember, this was in 2009, so this is my first real attempt at public policy in a huge recession where nobody was lending. And jobs were almost at a standstill. So for us to do this and really come together as a whole and as a community, it was a really cool thing. So through that policy, the policy I'm referring to is the HUD 108 policy.
Right.
We created some great partnerships with the Port Authority. We put out some basic guidelines that were never there, which you would think would be there. Underwriting criteria. So I can go on and on because I get really excited about it, but I know your viewers are just kind of like, okay, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, through a bottom-up approach policy, we were able to leverage almost $40 million, which is going to be a national model.
Wow,
and if I can do that within my
cool.
first couple of years,
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I've been one of these people in town who have said loudly and often, what is City Council doing? What are they doing? And do you think that we don't know? Because if I don't know, trust me, a lot of people don't know, because I'm watching this stuff all the time. So do you think it's because you guys don't talk about it? I mean, would you, if you had to do it all over again, would you talk about it louder?
Well,
more?
That's an interesting thing, because the public really only sees us being crazy.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
Especially on the DS, if we're being crazy on council, it makes the papers.
That's right.
And I'm, again, an introvert and more of a moderate, so I kind of stay quiet on the dais sometimes, but I've only lost my temper once or twice, and then I'm embarrassed about it because I'm like, I can't believe I said that. But I think people just don't really understand how much goes into being an at-large council person, and I think even more as a district person. And I wish people really understood our roles and responsibilities. It's a yes or no vote sometimes, or most times, and it's not a maybe and or but if. It's a strong mayor form of government. So,
absolutely.
at times the mayor and I would go head to head on an issue, and at the end of the day, it was his call. And I could either control the purse strings or not.
Right.
At other times, the administration was willing to work with me and see, that's a good idea. Let's move it forward and see what happens. So, again, no regrets. I just wish our community really understood the roles and responsibilities of at-large and a district council person.
I do too, and hopefully the show will do a better job next year of in 2014 of making this. Having that discussion.
Sure.
Because I think it's really important. I think it actually, the fact that people don't understand, I think has some effect. I'm not sure how much effect, but I do think some effect on whether people get out to vote.
Sure.
And,
sure.
We really, really need to push this issue of voting, and I hope to do a little more of that too.
Yeah, 6 votes.
Yeah,
I
6
was a little
votes.
salty about that.
Yeah,
but.
I imagine. And I don't think that most people put that in real terms, that their vote really does matter.
Sure.
Really does matter.
It's like I said, it's been a wonderful experience, and this campaign season was a little bit different. I can't
This
really.
campaign season was really different, not just a little bit.
And when I look at the field of candidates, we had a lot of good candidates. We had a
did.
lot of big named candidates. A lot of people refer to them as retreads, but they have experience. They have 30 plus years of name recognition.
That's right.
So to finish 6th, I'm not mad about it. Newly minted councilwoman
Sandy Spang.
She ran a hard, aggressive campaign.
She did.
She outworked
And
me,
people,
plain and simple.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did she outwork you?
I think so. I mean, she ran a very good campaign. I have no regret. I can't say anything negative about her campaign. She came across very well spoken, very well educated on the issues.
People in her area also got out and voted.
Yeah, that too.
Great turnout in her
District
area.
2.
That's right.
It's a
great
very
turnout.
strong, independent Republican area. And I wish her nothing but the best of luck. It was.
How do you think you're leaving the city?
I'm sorry?
What condition do you think the city's in? Are we good? Are we not so good?
I think we're not quite there yet. I definitely left it better than I found it, which was important to me because I wanted to make a difference. I think we made a lot of hard decisions. We made a lot of unpopular decisions, but I think they were, at the end of the day, they were the right decisions to keep the city of Toledo moving forward.
Yeah.
So again, no real regrets.
Any issue that you didn't tackle that you wish you had?
What I've been working on for the past 6 to 8 months, even before election season started, was really trying to figure out how do we bring in private equity into our legacy neighborhood, our disinvested neighborhoods, and that's been really important to me, especially around our smaller commercial nodes. Broadway corridor, Doris Street corridor, East Toledo corridor. We have some really great small commercial areas that have just been kind of abandoned, but yet we go out to the suburbs or Perrysburg and we get the small town feel when we have that right here in the heart of our city.
Yeah.
So, but actually I'm really more passing the torch than I am leaving the issue. Councilwoman Spang is working with me to move forward on keeping these ideas and conditions alive. So we've been meeting, again, bottom-up approach to figure out how do we help inspire investment in these neighborhoods. And again, taking a very cross-sectoral approach, bottom-up approach, and trying to figure out what are the next steps. And we came up with some really good solutions. So I hope the new administration takes these into consideration, because they're really simple things like a flow chart on how things work in the city. We always talk about being more business friendly. Well, we are business friendly. You just got to understand the steps.
How it works.
Most people come in at the end or the middle when they should have come in the front, so they get frustrated from going around and around and getting passed through the alphabet soup of economic development agencies.
Let me ask you this: you're the only Hispanic on council. Any particular burden, pressure that carried?
I wouldn't call it a burden. It was more pride. And am I disappointed that we no longer have representation on city council or in any, according to the new rollout from the
from the mayor.
That's very disappointing.
Yeah.
I think we're always kind of the other minority group. And it's just unfortunate because we have a lot of well-educated, individuals with good work ethic that could really make a big difference and that could very easily take spots in the cabinet or director positions.
What do you think we're going to miss most because there's not that voice?
Well, I think it gives you just a different perspective.
Absolutely.
Again, I always try to do a 360 analysis because there's no way I can know everything and get different points of opinion, and it's very easy, especially in government, to get tunnel vision because you think you know what's best for our community, and it may not necessarily be so.
May not necessarily be so. And when we're talking about paying attention to those nodes, as you call them, the reality is that the people whose voices we need are very present in those areas.
Oh, absolutely.
So you've got to find a way to connect with that Broadway corridor and that Dorr Street corridor and the East Side. Those are areas that are largely Black, largely Hispanic. We need to hear those voices, and I'm hoping that our new mayor gets that.
I hope so, and there's one thing that we're certainly not short on in this town is passion. So
Yeah.
I fully expect those voices to be heard. I'm cautiously optimistic that the new mayor will listen, but I hope certainly he won't ignore the fact that there is other minority groups, not just in the African American community. There's the Latino community.
That's
There's
right.
the a growing Mediterranean community.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of opportunity to really be inclusive, and I hope he takes good advantage of that.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit more about your thoughts about mayors when we come back,
Sure.
okay? So stay with me.
Absolutely.
We have to go away for just a minute, but we'll be right back.